Ba-da-da-da. All right. Let's do this. All right. Boom, 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 boom.
Does this sound right? Sold 174. We have 75 that renewed last month.
Yeah, but I need from January.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what the report said on HubSpot.
My accounting of what payments come in is much different. All right, so this market's hanging here. So it's a little bit. Hey Teddy, how you doing, Eric? What up? Yeah, you can see some markets having a little bit of a flat opening. So today we have the Federal Reserve thing in Jackson Hole. I'm still trying to figure out, does anybody know why they do that Fed meeting in the Jackson Hole? Wyoming seems to be a random spot. I was just Googling it because it's been bothering me. Jackson Hole seems like a far way away from Washington. It would almost seem like this is a waste of resources, but what can you do? But it's been gnawing on me a little bit. Hey, Robin. Mr. Robin. SPY, same thing. It's not, we weren't going to break out yesterday ahead of this meeting. That's just the nature of the game right now. You're in a wait-and-see mode with, obviously Labor Day next week, Federal Reserve meeting this week. The market itself has just been flat, but that's okay. There's been tons of runners in the market. You can see right off the bat, ADSK, SPLK. There's quite a few gappers today. Stocks making a move on earnings. You're getting another power move on this cron. Oh man, nice trender pre-market too. That's where we want to be with this stuff. The weeds are still hot. This buckle, this is I would normally not trade this stuff. This is like the store that you get like the dudes like all day wearing the Ed Hardy shirts and stuff like that. But it's a nice looking setup over here. You got 21 million share float, breakout to highs. It's like a 2-year breakout, so I think this one's going to be okay. TLRY has been flagging for the last 2 days. We're starting to gap up pre-market and come through. Watch this trend line here. This thing may ORB at the open. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Hey, Eric, how you doing? This one is good. One thing with this type of stuff is I wouldn't, you can't swing trade these pot stocks anymore because they're just up too high. You got to wait for them to pull back, but you can definitely day trade this stuff. This one looks pretty good. You're kind of breaking out of this trend line already. The one caveat with TLRY that, a lot of our chat room members will suffice to, Brad knows, this thing's got a monster spread. And so if you're having like kind of a so-so week, then, yeah, I know, can't sleep. If you're having a so-so week, TLRY can be painful at times because if you buy on the ask, the spread's like 30 cents sometimes. If you get in a jam and you got to dump it, it'll, drop back 30, 40 cents and, you could just lose like 400, 500 bucks real quick. If you're trading good and you've had a nice week, then this has got, the movement to have really, some elongated moves. But the caveat on this is, man, it drops out of nowhere and the sucker has a huge spread. The CGC moves just a lot better because it has no spread and more volume. But this thing is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. I mean, that makes it just so tricky sometimes when, you're trading because this one's getting a little bit extended where TLRY had, obviously a couple rest days. That gives it a little bit less risk, but then it has the spread, right? So, Cron and TLRY are not as extended as CGC, but CGC makes the better trader. This HIB, you can see here, this thing, misses quarter 2 estimates, lowers outlook 2, so it's a double whammy. You got the gap, you've missed estimates, they got all sorts of stuff going on. Breaking under the 200 SMA. This thing could be on watch for an ORB at the open. The SSR will be on this thing, so when the SSR is on, you cannot short the bid. If you short it too low, say you're looking for an ORB play at the open, and you short it too low, and it starts to grind, and the SSR is on, you gotta be really careful and tighten up your stop, because it'll just short squeeze real quick, and then it'll fall. When you get SSR, you're almost always better shorting on pops than trying to short low. Remember, you short low, use a hoe. Gap. Gap's also got some earnings out today. We're testing this trend line over here. If we break under, this thing could be okay. You've got a pre-market you've been basing out here already. So, if you break these pre-market lows, this thing may dump right at the open. Definitely got this one on watch. Gap trades like shit, though, so this is a B. When we're thinking about, earnings plays and what's moving around, you want to tier them. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Usually, Tier 1s are things that are ready now, but we also know that they trade well, right? They trade with the way that we want them to trade, meaning that they're liquid, they have good range, very little spread, and they can actually move the way we want. Retail stocks in general move like Shiite, pun intended, and we've got to kind of take, that and make it a B. This IMMU, the CFO, just resigned today. Sometimes that means that, they were up to some nefarious stuff. So I would watch this thing right at this 2050. If it breaks under, game is on. Right now, it's not. Like, if I saw a pattern and it's at 2130, I wouldn't take the trade. I'm only going to be looking for it if it breaks under support. Then I want to start looking for those patterns. Otherwise, it's a no-go. SPLK, man, this thing has usually been a nice mover. I've traded this quite a few times on earnings days. It will give a good range. It's used up $10 of its range right now on its earnings. Usually with these things, they've got to pull back a little bit because the float's a little bit higher. So after it gaps up, watch that pull back towards the 9 EMA or the 20. Look for a little bit of rounding, confirmation that a level is holding, and then try to take this thing back up. And then this auto zone is breaking out. I believe this would be all-time highs, auto desk. You would think it's related to auto zone, but I guess it's not. This thing is busting out the all-time high. Software coming, 173 million share float. Should be liquid. You're already starting to see a nice trend, $5 range off the flag pre-market. I don't know if any of you guys ever wake up early enough for this stuff, but you can take those kind of trades if you're up. I'd keep that on your list too. On their regular stocks, man, did anybody shred this thing yesterday? Hot damn. William and Sonoma, this thing trended all day. Watch this one for a red to green today. Twilio, this has been a great mover. 4 million share pump in volume. So normally it does like 2.5. So you had about a 50%, 75% increase in volume. You got a break of that range. Today it's opening up slightly strong. Watch this thing for pullbacks at the open. Twilio does this all the time where it'll pop hard at the open and you might not be able to catch it and then it'll dump. And you want to hit this thing on the pullback, to some level of support. Always be drawing support and resistance levels. Always be watching support and resistance levels and your moving averages, so on and so forth. Yeah, I said retail stocks don't move, and I messed up on that Williams-Sonoma. What are you going to do? TTD, and Twilio are my faves. This one broke out too. Look at the range on this TTD. This thing was, monster range, right? $8 range. You can shred a couple hundred shares of this bad boy and have yourself a nice day. And then Mitch is a priority too because we've got a compression breakout here. Tight compression, 9 EMA coming up under this. Actually, it looks like a swing trade too. And you can see this thing's been a pretty nice trender so far. I'd keep an eyeball on that one too. And then this dust was a power move yesterday. We've been talking about this thing for a while. Frankly, we could have literally rode it the whole damn day. It didn't give us any reason to sell really till 41. Unfortunately, I did not hold it the whole damn day, but the play was there. That's about as easy as you can get. I did okay on it for the most part, but I missed all this back end stuff. I'd watch this for a day two. It is gapping down. Watch it and see if it goes red to green. It may not. with the Fed meeting today or whatever they're doing, jerking each other in the Jackson Hole. It may not do anything today, but we'll see. Netflix going to need some more work. It is gapping up today, but I don't see a pattern there for me personally. In the video, what a reversal, man. It had bad earnings, got smoked, and then boom, their chips came out. They must be selling the crap out of these. You got 2 days in a row of red to greens. Look at that. See that dip down and then go? That dip down and go. So you've had 2 days of red to greens. I like this one, but I'm not trading it today because it's already been up about 4 days in a row. I usually find once you're on like day 4, day 5, it gets a little bit more dusty. Guys, it's Friday. Don't screw up. If you've got profits, keep them. Historically, man, I've always traded a little bit worse on Fridays, and I've had a lot of weeks in my life where I was good for 4 days. Where I was good for 4 days, and then I blow it all on Friday. You get a little bit greedy. There's not as much action, and then before you know it, you're just screwed. So I'll be off doing my thing. I will see everybody Monday. Peace to the Middle East.